I don't even know what's live yet. All right, I'm losing it right now. Hold on. Perfect. Islam. First, we give praises to the great God Allah and honor to our Prophet Noble Ali. And we would like to welcome you to our first episode of Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. And we just want to say thank you for tuning in again with us. We know we started off with a pilot, and we kind of received a lot of good responses.
Yeah.
Yes.
We just want to thank you all for tuning in and being open to hear a sister's perspective on being a sister in the Moorish Temple of America Incorporated. Thank you for all of the heartwarming felt texts and phone calls. And I guess I could say it made me feel like, praise Allah, that we are doing or trying to do the work of the Prophet by uplifting sisters and brothers.
Yeah, we received a lot of responses of people just giving us honor for being authentic, being real, and really having the courage to tell our truth. And I can say before the episode, it's funny how Allah works, because I probably never would have done this. I'm very guarded, as you all know, about talking about me. And I think Allah kind of pushes you in a situation for you to find your purpose and to find your strength. So I think this kind of, it's helping me.
You hanging with Trail Spill Hill. So.
We already know. So in saying that, I just wanted to say that, through all the responses that we did get, my earrings suck. Through all the responses that we did get, one thing that I recognize the power in telling your truth as a sister. And we sparked a lot of conversations. We sparked a lot of waking sisters up to really see that they're not alone. I think there's a lot of power in being able to, I'm learning, because like I said, I was very hesitant, but I'm seeing that there's a lot of power in telling your truth, that there's a lot of power in having a courage enough to show your scars, and that it encourages sisters to know that you are not alone. We are there with you, so we will never say that we got it together or that we know everything. I think we're in the process of discovering ourselves, and I think this is one opportunity that Allah has blessed us with, to be able to share our journey with you, because hopefully you're learning through this journey. We're learning through this journey a lot about ourselves, and really trying to see who we are and how are we striving for purity in life. And we're just excited that we can share that with you, that we can encourage you, that we can show you that it's okay to tell your truth and to understand that you're not in this alone. Anytime you're trying to change your condition, I was gonna say, every time you want to change your condition, sometimes, like we said before, it can be lonely. And
in a room full of people.
And we're showing what we hope, and we're showing that through our bond, because I tell her pretty much everything, and we're encouraging each other to stay on the path, and encouraging to be accepting of our past and understand that we can create a better condition for ourselves. So there you go.
And also, if I may add that when freeing yourself is what I like to call it, when you are able, there's some things about me that I thought that I would literally leave this earth without telling anybody. But once I started to open up and get some of that stuff out of me, I found that some of the weight that I had been dragging around for so long was starting to get lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. And I was like, oh, so that's what it's about, what it's like freeing yourself. So that's how I began to be an honest, open-minded, and fair individual. I'm not gonna say that times I'm not stubborn or none of those things, but I am open-minded, and I try to live my life in a fair manner because I'm open to suggestions, because I want to get better. I still got a lot of work to do. Trust me, I got a lot of work to do.
We all
I'm
do.
willing to do it.
All do.
Work ain't hard. I was just telling somebody that earlier. Work ain't hard.
When you're willing to stop to do the work.
Islam.
Yeah. So that's it. So basically today's episode is about dating as a Moorish sister. And so we have a guest that will be joining us soon. And that is Brother Z Streeter Eel, and he will be providing a brother's perspective. So we kind of wanted to start this conversation in saying, how are we defining dating? And what does that look like to us as a Moorish sister? And does that really align with our principles? So, you want me to go?
Yeah, sure.
So for me, I'm gonna be totally honest with y'all.
Excuse me.
I have absolutely no clue about dating. We came up with this topic based off a question that we got last week when someone had asked us what
are our thoughts on bringing a brother to the temple?
Or introducing him to the
temple.
teachings.
Mm-hmm.
And what was our response? I think we talked about it amongst ourselves, but I was saying, I've never done that.
I've never done that.
I never introduced
I've never
another
really had
brother
the
to the
desire
teachings.
to do that. Reason is because the brother I hope to have in my life, whoever he may be, would probably most likely be in the temple already, in the Moorish Temple of America, not necessarily Temple 71 in Washington, D.C.
You funny.
But yeah, and to me, the temple is sacred. If someone would ask, can they come? I'm not going to say no, because the doors are open for all, but I've never invited a brother to the temple personally. Never had that thought to.
Yeah, me either. Not at all. Well, like I said before, I have absolutely no clue about dating. So, I don't know. So, but it does not mean I haven't been on a date. Let me make that clear. And so, before I go into my thought, let me just add the brother to our thing. So, hold on, y'all. Okay, he needs to be ready. It's on, Brother Streeter Eel. How are you?
Wow.
There we go. All right, well, thank you for joining us on Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. We just introduced our audience to basically the topic of our show. And we're speaking about dating as a Moorish sister, and obviously you'll be speaking about dating as a Moorish brother. And so we're really just starting the conversation is, what are your thoughts on dating? So before I go into my spiel, we would love to hear a brief thought of what you think about dating.
Dating. It's interesting, topic of dating. I think the concept has been washed down. Uh, the original term for dating would be courting, right? And when you courted someone, you tried to understand who they was. Whereas a date, you just might ask somebody, hey, you want to go out Friday night? You want to hang out Sunday? You know, where I feel like the concept of courting a person in the dating process has been lost. And so we just date individuals. And it's like if I take you out on a date and our energy connects at that moment, you know, we make a decision based off energy connecting, you know, not even understanding sometimes that energy connecting could be more so lust than anything else, you know, but we entertain the energy and make a decision based off that rather than actually courting a person to see if that energy can maintain itself. And so I think that's the difference between dating and courting. When you court someone, you're trying to understand who they are and see if y'all can align. When you're dating someone, you're hanging out for the moment. Peace.
You know, just kind of like what I was saying earlier, I really don't understand what dating is. I never really tried to sit down and really define it. So last night when I was trying to prepare for this show, I'm like, what are you gonna say? Like I technically don't know anything about dating. Like, don't really know. So my first thing was like, well, let me really define what dating is based on, you know, the definition. Because one thing I learned in the Moorish Simple America of what they say is like, you really should learn a definition of words before you start using them or incorporating them in your life. So I did some research for us all to kind of really figure this out. And when I looked it up, it kind of took me on a journey. So I want you guys to ride with me real quick. So you're riding? All right. So it says dating is a stage of romantic relationships in humans whereby two people meet socially with an aim of each assessing the other's suitability as a prospective partner in an intimate relationship. It is a form of courtship consisting of social activities done by the couple, either alone or with others. So I was like, okay, so Shannon, when you're dating, what are you trying to do? And for me, like most sisters, I could say, and brothers, that you're trying to find someone that you can relate to, that hopefully you could move to companionship and then move to a marriage. And so in my mind, I was like, well, that doesn't really sound like dating is really going to get you there. And so I started saying, well, if I say that I'm not dating, then what am I doing in this time period? And for me, I'm learning, and I saw on a show last night with Brother and Sister Adams Bay, and they were talking about the first principle is love. And they come on every Wednesday at 7, plug. And so on that episode, Sister D. Adams Bay said one very powerful thing. She said, and it's true, the world is wrong and the prophet is right. And so that rung to me so, like, it was such a profound statement, because when you're dating, you are literally looking outside of you, and so I was like, okay, Shannon, if that's the case, the only place that you have to go to find out what you need to do, because obviously dating is not what a Moorish American does based on this definition. So keep on riding with me. So in that, I was like, okay, got it. Oh, okay. I know, one hand move. So in that, it took me to the Holy Quran of Moorish Simple America. Wow. Just a little research. And I said, where can I find dating in this holy book?
Islam.
And I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find anything about dating. And so I was like, okay, so I'm saying, all right, Shannon, you ain't dating, but what you gonna do? And so, I was thinking, if I'm not dating, and this took me, then it, Allah's good, because he took me back to some conversations that I've had with other people. And it was a Sister Jones Bay, that was kind of like, it's okay to be by yourself. Like it's okay to be by yourself. And in that, I was like, okay, if that's the case, then what am I doing? And so I want us to change this conversation from dating to waiting. What are you doing as you're waiting? And so when I was like, well, Shannon, does that sound right? Because I'm just praying, meditating last night, trying to figure out, well, what does that mean? When you're waiting, there's so many harmonious and glorious things that happen. Like you're literally discovering you.
Wow.
And you're doing what the book says to do. First, he says,
Wow.
know thyself and Allah.
That's right.
In the waiting period, you're doing that. And I'm always looking for a process or instructions. And it starts with, for me, chapter 3, really, Elihu's lessons, the unity of life. And it speaks about the lower self and the higher self. And when you're examining yourself, you really can understand the ways of the world. And so it says, the lower self, the carnal self, the body of desires, is a reflection of higher self, distorted by the murky ethers of the flesh. The lower self is an illusion and will pass away. The higher self is Allah and man and will not pass away. The higher self is the embodiment of truth. The lower self is truth reversed, and so is falsehood manifest. The higher self is justice, mercy, love, and right. The lower self is what the higher self is not. The lower self breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. The lower self is rich in promises. That's what it feels like when you're dating. It's rich in promises, but poor in blessedness and peace. It offers pleasure, joy, and satisfying gain, but gives you unrest, misery, and death. Dating is like a high. You're so excited about going on this date, meeting this person. You're like, oh, they're so cute, they're so handsome, this is gonna work. By the third day, I'm probably planning our wedding, what kind of ring I should have.
Which is why examination is important.
That's why waiting is important. So you can examine not only your condition, but their condition as well. But get this, it says, it gives men apples that are lovely to the eye and pleasant to the smell. Their cores are full of bitterness and gall.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever dated anyone on a dating app?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
How'd that go?
Islam, I don't have bad experiences. You meet people, you connect or you don't connect. The thing about a dating app, I don't see the dating app as any difference as meeting someone in person, because whether I see you on a laptop or I see you in person, I'm approach you. It's different when you use social media to only approach people, and you don't approach, you wouldn't say the things that you would say to them online.
You like when people approach you on social media?
I
don't. That's probably not a good move.
Do I like it? No. Does it take place?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Inbox is lit up right now.
Yeah. All our inboxes are lit up.
I mean, I haven't even opened. I just sit there like, oh, all right.
And so whether you dating someone online or you meeting someone in person, I look at it as the same. It's just at the end of the day, it's whether the energy and the personalities can really match.
Yeah. So, one other thing that I thought that's really driving me to really focus on waiting versus dating is that in that waiting season, in that waiting process, like I remember a Sunday school when the moderator was saying, we have the same attributes as Jesus. That was my step 2. So what am I supposed to do? If I'm not dating and I say that I'm waiting, what does this waiting thing look like? And so the first thing I thought of was like, what did Jesus do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did he do? And throughout, the Holy Granite of the Moorish Temple of America, he talks about meditating, which is including in waiting, not included in dating. He talks about self-examination. And in the waiting process that I'm learning, because I'm taking on this role of not dating and waiting, is I'm examining my heart. I'm looking at my lower self and my higher self, and I'm saying, I have desires and thoughts that come from my lower self. I have desires and thoughts that come from my higher self, and really determining like what those two things breed, and asking myself questions like, what do you want? Because if you want just an intimate relationship, which is basically connected to your carnal desire, which is pretty much to your lower self, then maybe you should go date. Like maybe you should go dating. But in the waiting process, it allows you to build relationships, to really build friendships for me, and so with brothers, to really build that bond. But also it really gives you an opportunity to ask your questions. What do you really want?
Right.
Instead of going to 4 or 5 dates of them not going well. And sometimes I can say for myself, when I used to go on a lot of dates, something would happen that just didn't go well. And I would end up saying, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I find someone for me? Like, what did I do? Like, why are you doing this to me? And I had to realize, like, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just your waiting season. And in that waiting season, there's work that you've been called to do. Like there's a purpose for you, and you've been placed in this situation, just the way it looks, just the way it is, for you to really understand what waiting really looks like. And I think last night when I prayed and I said, all right, so you're not gonna date, you're gonna wait, there was such a sense of relief. Because in dating, there's so much pressure. And I just, like I always say, like, I don't think Allah puts pressure on you like that. We create that in ourselves based on what society says we should be doing. You should be dating. You should be on a dating app. You should be looking for your husband or looking for, or looking for your wife. But they never say there's a process that needs to take place of self-discovery.
Right.
Before you do that, and that it's okay to go through the steps of being someone's friend and really getting to know them. Because I know when I date people and we date for a while and they do something wrong, I'm pretty much done with you. But when you build that bond, that friendship, there's conversations that can be had that you can kind of understand where the person is coming from. And I think when you wait, that helps with all the things that we want to achieve in the Moorish Temple of America. And one of the main things is unity and building a strong nation. So I think that it's important for us to take a look at what does waiting look like for us. What do you think about waiting?
Oh, I've done some waiting.
And what happened? What happened?
Unfortunately by force. But nevertheless, it came as a blessing. There was a situation that took place, and it left me in a wild state of mind. And I said, you know what? That's it. I ain't going out with nobody. I'm sick of dudes. And really what it was is that I was sick of me.
Yeah.
For allowing certain stuff to take place in my life, So what I did, what I know about me, right? And I'm still this way. When I'm in it, I'm in it. It ain't no air in that. You know what I'm saying? But the prophet says, learn to love instead of hate. So you have to come out of a state of when you're angry and when you're cussing and when you fussing, and that's you in your lower self, right? And let me just say that I can still go there in my present life. I don't want to be anybody misunderstand that, because I'm not polished, okay? I still have some rough edges. However, I said, let me take this time, all that love and that energy and energy and love and energy and time and sweat and tears, literally, that I put into the relationship with the man. Let me do all that for me. Let me put all that love back in me. Let me get to really know me, learn me, and see how I feel about me. Can I be okay without a man? I was telling the sister some time ago that, there was, when I think back, there was rarely a time where I wasn't in a situationship, a relationship, a situationship. And I was like, ugh. That's how I felt. I said, ugh. You got to do better, sis. So I took that opportunity, and my inbox was lighting up then, and people wanted to date me or court me and things of that nature, and I just wasn't feeling it. I was flattered, but I wasn't feeling it. I needed that time. And down the road, when I think back about how I got there, of what a brother did something that made me almost call off men, right? But I'm serious. So I told you about it. So what I thought of that was, God, that was a blessing. I'm so glad he did that. I'm so glad he said he wasn't going to the convention because he had to work and then end up going. I'm glad of that took place, because it gave me the opportunity to love on me and to get to know me, so.
What do you think about waiting, brother? Are you waiting over there?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
What are you waiting for?
I think it's important that we wait. After you had some experiences, like the sister just said, once you had a few bad experiences, you want to process that, and I think from the man perspective, when I say process that, I kind of feel like if I as a leader, if a man cannot provide leadership to a woman, then how can he lead a community? So when a brother is wise, and he's striving, to submit his will, and he drops the ball on leading a woman, even if it might not be on his shoulder they dropped the ball, he still bears the responsibility of dropping the ball because it happened. As a ruler, as a leader, there are no excuses. As a leader, a Moor, there are no excuses. And so if the woman's in need, as a provider and a protector, you provide those needs. That's what you do. You produce. As a Moor, I'm a creator. I create. You create the environment. You create the happiness. You create the situation. That's what you do. You create it. And so when that doesn't unfold, it's only wise in itself that you wait it out and process what just went on, what just happened. Where did you drop the ball at? And really assess this, because you'll find yourself, it's easy to just go from woman to woman to woman to woman to woman and never not understanding why you're not connecting with anybody. It's real easy to do that, And in this era of time, that's what everybody seems to be on. Hey, and so when you the matured in life, and you striving to be the strength of Allah, when you striving to do that, you wait it out. And waiting just means waiting. Also, it means going on with your life, living, being happy, and etc. But at the same time, it means some preparation needs to be taken.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't prepare for the next situation. We be waiting on the next situation, but we don't be prepared
Yes.
next situation,
Yeah.
you know? And so me and the Moors was just discussing this the other night, in chapter 21, marriage instruction for man and wife from the noble prophet. You know, and verses 1 through 15, these here are instructions for single women. These instructions here is what tells you this wait process. This is when you begin to structure yourself. This is when she's structuring herself, right? Then from 15:25, it's dealing with the wife. You know, this is how the wife operates in this situation. And so when the brothers read this, he discovers the process that she goes through. So now you understand the value of having her in your life when you understand the process of what she went through to give you what you receive. You know, but a lot of times we don't assess, we don't prepare, and so we end up dropping the ball again and again and again and again. Next thing you know, the brother got children over here. He got children over there. You know, he got problems over here, and he got more problems over there, and etc. Because we don't pay attention to the instructions. When we wait it out, we prepare for the next situation.
Yeah, and just like you said, like waiting includes so many things that you could do. And the key thing that I learned that, you know, because at first, you know, like I said, I didn't know what dating was, and I didn't know, like, I was like, I don't know how to express dating through a show. But when I started to define what waiting was through the book, then you knew it was the answer, because in our lives, this is our source. So now it's that. We don't date, we wait. And we build solid relationships, and we build unity amongst ourselves by being friends first. So that kind of leads us to a question that we have. This one. Yeah.
Okay. We have a question. Islam, do you believe that you must have purpose on why you want to meet someone?
Do you need your glasses?
No. They in my eyes, believe it or not.
Let me see. Do you believe that you must have purpose on why you want to meet someone? You want to meet someone. Do you need to have a purpose on wanting to meet someone? Or should you even want to meet someone?
Islam. You know, the Quran tells us it's not in possessing anything, it's the use of it, right? And so anytime we have the opportunity to put our hands on anything, we should understand what we plan on doing with the utilization of it.
I can hear that.
So indeed, there should be purpose in dating. You should know why you're dating. You should be dating with a purpose. You know, that's why dating. That's why I spoke about dating and courting being two separate things. Because when you lose the concept of trying to understand if you and this person can align, you just end up with some feel-good moments. You know, which is why when you came in and you emphasize on waiting, that made more sense. It makes sense to wait it out. You know, when you date with a purpose, and that dating process doesn't go the way, it's best that you bag up, because now a mistake has been made. You know, was it just me picking wrong people? I'm still struggling with my old self, or I'm still connected with things that don't serve my interests anymore. You know, these things have to be assessed. You know, when you date, that's how you date with a purpose. You begin to understand where you made the mistakes in the past, so you don't make the same mistakes again. A lot of times we stay connected to the same energy, even if we're trying to move forward.
Yeah, it's like sometimes people say you're dating someone else, but you're really dating the same energy that you had before.
You know,
because you haven't yet taken a self-examination of why you are attracted to these type of things or these type of behaviors in people.
Yeah, same man, different plan.
Right.
Well, sometimes we are sent representatives of an individual and not them true selves.
Islam.
That's why it's important to wait.
Islam. That's why it's important to court that person.
Absolutely.
That's why it's important to court them.
Absolutely.
You know, because you can put a mask on today, but one day you can't. That mask ain't gonna go on every day. That's you know, after a while, it's gonna get some kinks, and you're gonna begin to notice there's a mask on this person. after a while. That's why when you court the person, you give it time to process.
But would you notice those things before you start courting? Because my definition of courting, from what I've learned in my research, is that when you're courting, both parties have an intention for a common goal. Most likely, well, not most likely, that goal is marriage. So you should see past that representative as you're becoming friends. I mean, that's why the instruction is so important, because it does say, and I hope I can say it's right, y'all can help me, is that when you understand your lower self, you can understand the illusions of the world. When you know what your lower self breeds, it's easy for you to see it in somebody else. And so that's when we have to have, I can say for myself, the courage and the strength to say, we're friends, but we can't go into courting. But I kind of feel like once I see, you got to really examine with care.
Yeah.
But I know from experience that you can be friends with somebody for years, but a relationship or courtship is something totally different. And what you've been seeing all this time may just be who they are as your friend, your homeboy, your brother. But in a relationship, they're totally different. They could be possessive, controlling, where you at, things of that nature, abusive. You don't know that as a friend, really.
Oh, you do. I mean, I honestly believe, like, when you meet someone and you actually really take your physical eyes away, because those are the things that are blinding you to the truth. And really look with your third eye and be honest with yourself. There's something that person did in that friendship, something that you've seen just in him moving his hand gestures. There's something that gave you a sign. Now, someone probably was like, oh, it's not really like that. Until it gets too far that you're just like, yo, he's a serial killer. Or like something like that, like, something really drastic. But I think, like, that's why I feel, and I'm learning, that waiting is so important, because it's so true. When you understand what the lower self breeds, you can see it. You see that joint move, and you see it move in people. You just got to have enough courage and strength to identify it, recognize it, and be willing to walk away. Sometimes we're so into being in relationships and being with people that some things happen that you'd be like, well, he grew up in a single family home. Okay, so did I. But you know what I mean? But
making excuses
for
the red flag.
And now you're disturbed because he's cheating on you, or you're disturbed that you found out that he has something else going on. Where when you're in the book, you can see. And I think that's what's important. What I'm learning, that it's that waiting season that I am entering into has become so important to me, because I want to get it right.
Are you saying that there's never been no time, that you have started to court, talk to, communicate with an individual who at first they excited your fancy, it was all bubbles, unicorns, and rainbows, and then down the line it was like hurricanes and trees falling over? You've never had that?
When I didn't use the book, yes. When I took the book and examined with care, no. That's why I'm saying dating is not the answer. Waiting is the answer. Like, I'm not going to give you that much of me if I'm waiting. I'm going to be your friend or be your associate until I can actually make a determination that this is going to be a good look for me. And times before, I didn't do that. I was like, oh, he's handsome. He got a job. Oh, he got a degree. Oh, he ain't got no kids. Oh, I think this is a suitable catch for me. And then I'm like, then I'm in it. Like, oh, we're going on a date. Oh, this is a wonderful date. This is wonderful dinner. Oh, this is so great. Oh, we walked on the park, we held hands. Oh, this is so great. I haven't said anything about his character in that brief statement. I haven't said anything about his family in that brief statement. I haven't said anything about his friends. I haven't said anything about his religion in that statement. And which means I don't know you. But if I wait, You're going to invite me somewhere where I'm around your family. You're going to invite me to your religious establishment. You're going to invite me to hang out with your friends if I wait. And so I think that's why dating, for me, is not the answer. It's not something that I desire to do anymore. I think I prefer to wait. But I'm gonna hit our questions because they're blowing us up, y'all.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so hold on. Here we go. Looking back at your past relationships and what you have learned as a Moorish sister or brother, what views or perspectives have changed when it comes to dating? I kind of expressed mine, so.
Yeah. Well, like I said, examine with care. You know, there was, before I entered to the temple, I didn't know what examining with care looked like. It was what I saw. If it didn't look too bad, hey, let's try it out. Let's see what we would be talking about, you know. But after coming into the temple, you know, in chapter 21, it says, listen to their sweet persuasions.
Mhm.
Do not be fooled.
Yeah.
I got you.
Thank you, sister.
I got you.
Verse 2.
Yep. In the spring of thy youth, in the morning of thy days, when the eyes of men gaze on thee with delight, and nature whispereth in thine ears the meaning of their looks. Hear with caution their seducing words. Guard well thy heart, nor listen to their soft persuasions.
So
that's dating.
Right. But in
Anyway.
highlight,
Okay.
this is where I need to be at to make sure that this is something I want.
Okay.
Remember thou art made man's reasonable companion, not the slave of his passions. The end of thy being, is not merely to gratify his loose desires, but to assist him in the toils of life, to soothe his heart with thy tenderness, and recompense his care with soft endearments. That is what I'm supposed to, and I'm sorry, that's from the Holy Quran and Moorish Science of America, chapter 21, marriage instructions for man and wife from the noble prophet.
Praise Allah.
So
what you got from that?
That is what I'm supposed to be producing. Anything outside of this I feel is not going to get me anywhere. If I'm going to walk this life, if I'm going to be a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, I have to get with what is in this book. It's just like being any other organization, and I'm going to say a 12-step organization. There's no need in being a part of it if you're not going to embark on what they setting out to help you get better. This is a guide to life, and this is to help me become obligated. And it's to help me stop gossiping and to help me not be all in brother's face. You know what I'm saying? And
looking all thirsty.
And those are some of the things that these instructions have helped me. If I'm not having a conversation with a brother, I'm not looking at him. You won't look across the hall and see me staring at somebody all Google eyes in their face. Those are some of the things that the instructions have helped me with.
It's fun.
All right, I'm gonna hit us with some more questions. This is a good one. This will kind of lead us into some of these other questions, so they're not really in order. So viewers, please bear with us. I'm gonna try to get to them all. But what are you learning about yourself from dating and relationships that were not successful?
I learned that I jumped a two-head of the game.
Impulsive.
I didn't examine with care. You know, I was so caught up on the idea of a relationship instead of really doing the necessary work or taking the necessary examination for a healthy relationship. You know, I too looked for a certain type of brother, you know, and if that's what I saw when I saw you, then we can work on everything else after that. And that was just so backwards. Like the glory and the shame was definitely misplaced. And that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm the same thing. I just didn't examine with care. I think sometimes like you let your emotions control the way you control your soul, like control the way you do things and the way you feel about certain people. And most of the time, like it doesn't align with who you're really trying to be. And I think it's really all about, I made a lot of past mistakes thinking that I knew something that I didn't know, thinking that I had all the answers and that it was okay for me to just figure it out on my own and that the world had the answers for me. And I don't think it took me a while until I actually got into the Moorish Science Temple in America and starting to get abreast with the Prophet's teachings that there's a process and there's a path that can lead to internal happiness if we just follow those instructions. And I think before, when I didn't know that, I think I just jumped into situations because I was in the moment. So I think for me, what I learned about myself is that at times I can be very impulsive. So did you want to touch that question, brother Student Eel? What are you over there typing?
Do you need?
No, bro.
You read it.
Brothers are texting me questions. It's fine.
Well, praise Allah. Well, give us some of your questions.
It's fine. In regards to things I have learned, I think the Quran just gave me the balance that I need. You know, like some brothers that grow up here in the United States of America, I engaged into the lifestyle of the streets. And I ran the streets for some years, served some time, incarcerated, and etc. And so that mentality of that street mentality is toxic in a sense, where it gives you the bully mentality. And so, you know, in the streets, when you walk among other men, you know, you feel like all the other men should respect who you are. You're a bully, so you feel like it don't even matter if the men are mightier than you. You're a bully. That's the mindset of how you survive, you know. And so we take that mindset and we go through our lessons and we say, man, I'm done with that life and I'm finna live this different life. You know, when I came home, you know, I'm a single dad of 5 children. I've been raising all 5 of my children. And so my daughters were the first women that actually gave me these lessons that kind of humbled me, you know, because I was aggressive and stern at first. And I was like, no, you ain't, no, you know, no, you can't do this, no. You know, I ain't want them outside. I wanted to know who was the little boy walking down the sidewalk. Was he coming down there for her? And so I was just really trying to micromanage their lives and not let them be young girls, right? And so behind that, it caused so much conflict that I quit the job that I had at that time, and I went and sat in a program that dealt with fatherhood and parenting. And when I sat in that program, I just wanted to take a look at my parenting skills, my anger. Meantime, I'm being mentored, you know, by brothers in the Moorish Science Temple of America. And so I'm really taking this serious while I'm not having a relationship I desire with my daughters, you know. I produce things. So how can I not have a decent relationship with my own daughters, right? And so that was serious to me. So I was willing to go sit in a 6-week classroom, you know, and listen to somebody give some instructions on parenting, you know what I'm saying, to really let me examine myself and see where I was as a father. Where was I dropping the ball at? And through it, I learned I was a bully. I didn't want to honor other people's views. I didn't want to, be okay with you making a decision. I wanted you to listen. I'm dad, right? I run it. And you should do it the way I say do it, right? And my daughter like, whoa, 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 you haven't even been in my life. You haven't even been here. You're not a bad dad. We love you, but you haven't even been here. Hold up, Dad. I'm not a bad person. You can trust me. And I just wasn't hearing it, and so later on in life, when you start going into relationships, you'll still take that mentality into a relationship, and so you think when you come home hungry, what I'm saying, food should be ready right then and there. She had a long day just like you did, you know, even though most women they'll just toke it up and go in there and make a meal for their man, but at the end of the day, you have to be considerate sometimes. It ain't always about you. And that's one of the things that I had to digest and learn that kind of blocked me from having a genuine, a sincere relationship with a woman,
Okay.
Thank you, bro.
Praise Allah. So here we go. You got questions over there, or you want me to go?
Now the brother was just adding. He said, and make sure that you highlight the fact that we don't take our old issues into a new situation.
Praise Allah.
So it's kind of like what I was just speaking about. That attitude, you can't take that and hope to get something different out of it. You can't.
Yeah, that goes with this question. Someone asked, do you wait and do a self-examination after relationships, or do you just move on to the next?
I think you should wait it out.
Yeah,
I think men.
What have you guys actually done? Have you done that? Have you actually waited it out? And what did that process look like?
Waiting, taking time to reevaluate what steps I did for this because it's not something you got to look at you too. Even though you may have ended the relationship because of something the other person did, you have to play the whole tape back of what could have led up to those decisions that were made for everything to go so wrong. So you have to play the tape back. And how can I correct this? Or how can I correct me first? That way you.
But wait, are we talking about dating? Is this all happening while you guys are dating?
No, this is happening while we're waiting.
Oh.
This is not going from one person straight to the next person. This is a time to reevaluate.
Retreat.
Yeah.
Retreat.
And to, like I said, to play the tape back to see what may have went wrong. That way, if there's something in you that you know that needs to be corrected, you take that time and you correct it. And before you go any further, you make sure that you're firm in that new decision that you made to not be this way anymore.
Islam. So I think that kind of takes us to,
like the brother said, you can't go into new situation with old stuff. It's not fair to either person.
It's not. It's unfair. I can agree with that. What do we mean by waiting? That's a question we have. What do you mean by waiting? So for me, I'm really starting just to understand that dating is not an option for me. I don't want to date. In the waiting process, what I'm learning and what I've been reading in the Quran is that it doesn't speak about dating in our Quran. So it shouldn't be in our vocabulary. This is my opinion. So I don't think it should be, I don't even think it's a word that we should use because, I just read the definition. That has nothing to do with what we're trying to do. But I think like when I say waiting, there's steps. First step, know thyself and Allah. When you can see the God in you, you have a tendency to be gentler with you, not to be so risky and not to be so impulsive. You take the time with yourself and in that you're deciding like, what's in me? This is waiting, like you're defining who you are, you're defining who you want to be, you're defining that God is in you and that matters to you. This is what I'm learning. That matters to me. And in that, I have to be honest with myself. I have to understand that I have a higher self and I have a lower self. And both those things can breed. And they both breed things that I like.
Mhm.
Like, I'm a sister, but just like anyone else, I have desires. And I have to be honest with myself and think about and really fess up to that. And these are things that are happening in the waiting process. In the midst of that, you're meeting your foes.
Mhm.
You're meeting people that you find attractive to the eye, that you want to make a move on maybe, or that you want to talk to you. But when you sit down and say, Shannon, you said you was waiting. Like, you made that commitment to yourself. So that, waiting looks like you're meditating, you're trusting in God, that he's gonna guide you to that person, not those persons, to that person. And it's okay to wait. It's okay to wait. It's okay to take your time. It's okay to say, I'm learning, I'm fessing up, that I don't know. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I need, but I know that God knows. I know he knows. And I know he gave me instructions to help me figure it out. He told me, know thyself and know Allah. He told me to examine. He told me, just like Jesus did, ask yourself questions. What you like? What do you want? And then he said, you have a high and a low. Let's break that down. Is that a good look for you? To like someone just because they look good, or because they have a good job, or they make money, or because they have a degree? That sounds vain, Shannon.
Right.
Did you look at their heart? Are they a good friend? Are they good to their mama? Like, are you looking at that? But then also, like, waiting is a time that you have an opportunity to look at you. So when you go in 21, those chapters, last night I had a moment. I was like, maiden, it was like, I'm gonna give you guys something. On her tongue dwelleth music, the sweetness of honey floweth from her lips. Decency is in all her words, and her answers are mildness and truth. Submission and obedience are the lessons of her life, and peace and happiness are her reward. So last night I was like, well, are you being obedient? Is dating saying that you're being obedient? Like, he's saying, be obedient, submit to me. You can wait. I got it. I have it. I have it for you, but I need you to prepare. And that's what's waiting. That, to me, that's what waiting. Being patient enough to wait. Being patient enough to examine with care. Being patient enough to say, yes, you are attractive, but I really want to get to know who you are. And I want you to be friends, just how I'm friends with Great Eel. Because that's my rider, and I want you to be my rider too. But you like off the chain, saying stuff about me behind my back, how am I trust you?
Absolutely.
But then I'm what, going to date with you and hug up on you and kiss you, and like, I don't even know what you're gonna say out your mouth next. And that breeds things from the lower self. It breeds misery, unrest. You're so confused about what this person's gonna do next because you don't even know who they are. But if they was your friend, you can put them in a spot. Like, we cool, but I know you make moves like that, so we're just cool. And I say, like, I know this is right, because when I said, Shannon, dating, waiting, what you gonna do? And when I say waiting, there was such calmness that he gave me. Like, you on the right path. You on the right, you're making a move, but it's hard because the world don't talk about waiting. The world is so fast and so moving. They make money off of dating. There's dating apps, there's social media, there's counseling, there's companies you can go to that'll find you somebody. But you can't make no money off waiting. The only thing you're gonna get from waiting is to know yourself and to know your Father God Allah. And it's just like we always learn, the answers are already in us. We just gotta dig them out. And I just know when I started, it's been 24 hours, so work with me, y'all. So when I really started, like, really delving in deep of, like, this is what you're gonna do, this is what you say you're gonna do, and you feel that comfort of God saying, that's the right move. And to me, like, that's what waiting looks for. Now, it doesn't mean like I'm not gonna hang out with brothers, but there's gonna be a certain way that I do it. Like, you can hang out and go out with a couple of friends. You
Mm.
can talk on the phone. You can like go to dinner, but there's a mindset that accompanies you when you go to that dinner. There's a mindset that accompanies you when you hang out with your friends. There's a mindset when you see a brother and you say, that's my brother.
Mhm.
You're not saying, oh, he's cute, I think I want to make him my man. You're saying, that's my brother. And you can see a lot in him. In dating, you ain't seeing God in nobody. You're just seeing their flesh. But when you're literally waiting, what I feel right now in this moment, when you're literally waiting, that small, still voice is talking to you the whole time.
Islam.
I think as, and I don't even know for me if I personally would use the word waiting. It's kind of more just like sitting still, which is
Waiting.
right?
Yeah.
But waiting sounds so, for me, it kind of sounds like just, definite, like waiting for something to come along. No, like you said, you still go out, you have fun, you live your life. And that's what I try to do. However, in dating or waiting or in a relationship, you should always look for or be enabled to see Allah in another person, in any situation, first and foremost, because they are in them too. So that's just all I want to say. It doesn't matter if you're waiting, dating, married, courting, your girlfriend, your guy friend, your aunt. You should see Allah in them anyway. So you don't.
I think that takes time though.
You don't have to. Well, you have to remember. You don't necessarily have to see it, but you have to remember that Allah is in now, which a lot of times we tend to, or me, tend to sometimes forget until you really start practicing and applying the lessons. Then you can be in Target and somebody could be going off and you was like,
I be looking at these.
And
that's why I gotta be like, you probably should be waiting.
you gotta line him too, or she gotta line in her too, that they just having a moment. We all got a lower self and you just keep it moving. So I just said all that to say that you can, in dating or courting, you can see Allah.
I don't think we should date them.
Okay.
I don't agree with the dating concept, y'all.
That's why I use air quotations. I've been using them all day.
What do you think, Srita? Yeah.
Islam. I think the question of waiting, I think the reason is because we stay in a microwave generation.
Yeah,
everybody wants
now.
Why I can't have it right now? I deserve it right now. I'm a good person. I should have this. I got this. Why don't I have that? And so we began to try to rush things. Brother Pickens Bay just stated to me, Allah is the best of planners. And we have to understand the Quran talks about time never was when man was not. So time in itself is an illusion when we're dealing with the reality of time. You get what I'm saying? And so sometimes we feel pressured by something that don't even really exist. So we be like, I ain't got time to wait. I ain't got time, to not be pursuing this. I don't have time for these things, but you got time to do whatever you choose to do.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You got time for that. And in its proper timing, things will align and come together like they're supposed to. But the most important part of it is you.
Yes.
The most important part of this is you. Because you can meet somebody and you not be ready for the situation.
Yes.
So that means it's bad timing. But if you stop trying to rush time, you'll stay in line with what's good for you and it'll align in its own time. So we should be patient with ourselves and allow ourselves to wait, date for Sister Guriel, Islam, we give ourselves time to do both of those things. Y'all understand what I'm saying? We give ourselves time to do these things, and that's all waiting is giving yourself time. A lot of times you hear people say, well, I'm just loving on myself right now. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to love on yourself. Matter of fact, you should be able to love on yourself even in a relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know? And so that there is a coping mechanism that should be a part of our day-to-day practice anyway. It's unfortunate that a lot of times we wait till we experience heartache or pain to start loving on ourselves. You know, and then as soon as we get out of that situation or that illusion of time, right? Because now we experiencing it with somebody else. Now we forget to keep loving on ourselves, right? And so we end up on the hamster wheel. We cycle after cycle.
That
You know what I'm
makes me
saying?
think, brother, if I may, that makes me think that when you're working on yourself, you're giving yourself time to love on you and you loving you more, because you should already be there or be trying to get there on loving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What does loving yourself look like? How are you treating you? Are you putting your needs and first, or are you still making unhealthy decisions and unhealthy sacrifices for anything outside of you? And I'm not saying to be selfish, but sometimes you got to put the brakes on certain situations. If you can't be happy with you by yourself, then all you are looking for is someone to give you something that you're not even giving yourself. That just doesn't make sense. It got to make sense. You got to pour into you way more than anybody else pour into you.
Right.
You know, I can expect Shannon to make me feel happier. I can't expect for her to make me happy.
It's fine. You know, I got a phrase that I always say when I speak at the temple. I say, if you don't know you, you can't do you. You know, a lot of times we end up doing things that not even of ourselves because we haven't took the time to know ourselves, right? And so we get persuaded, or it feels good, or it seems like the right moment. You know, this just might be the right opportunity. We start guessing. We do a lot of guesswork then. You know, if you know you can do you. You know,
Yeah.
talk about getting with ourselves.
Yeah. So we have a tremendous amount of questions, and it is 8:08, so we are definitely past our time. So I'm sure that a lot of these questions that we have are really pertaining to not dating, but they are pertaining to relationships. So Street Eel, if you're open, you don't have to respond now, but maybe we could do a part 2 next week and kind of delve into relationships if you're open to that. And we'll see how that can go. But just to close out this episode on dating as a Moorish sister, let's do closing remarks. And I think we can start with you, Brother Streeter Eel. What would you like to say to the viewers about, you know, dating, or basically the topic of the show?
Islam, my position, I'm a Moorish American. My position is from a more science perspective. My reality shifted and changed from the old way of just dating, right? And so when the question came about earlier, they spoke about dating with a purpose. All along, I've been waiting to speak on that because it's always the intentionality of things. It's intentionality in everything. You can have 2 students in the same classroom, and one has the intention of getting a job, and one has the intention of developing a company to produce jobs, right? And so the intentionality when you go into a situation makes or breaks the whole situation. It must be intentionality in our patience when we're waiting on things. It must be intentionality when we plan and strategize to manifest and align and create things. It must be intentionality in everything that we do. A lot of times we make choices without pulling forward thought into it. That's why the prophet said, if I can start you to thinking, perhaps you can save yourself. When you can think the thing completely out, you know, and rationalize it and put some reasoning behind it, you'll manifest exactly the way you want it to be. Islam.
My girl. Why are you looking like that? You got something?
I mean, I would say live your life, be happy, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Be fair in your decision making when it has to do with other people, so that you don't rob them of their choices. Be honest in when you in meeting someone and dealing with someone. You have to be honest. Wherever you are along the way, be upfront about it. Do not rob people of their choices. Do unto others as you have them do unto you. Peace.
Don't deny people of their choices.
Mm-hmm.
Praise the Lord.
I like to say, don't rob them.
Oh,
Don't be a thief of their choices.
yeah. So I guess for me, as I travel this journey of trying to understand, as I understand that dating's not for me. I really want it's not. So dating's not for me. I don't plan on doing it. And for me, that I'm really looking forward to this journey of defining again and again on a daily basis of what waiting looks like for me. As of right now, it looks like for me, looking at myself and really trying to stick to the book. And so I really want to do that. I really feel like in my heart that's the right thing to do. I have been asking myself on this show in these matter of seconds, what does that look like? And to me, I think waiting looks like looking at yourself, engaging with others, building friendships versus situationships or relationships, but building a friendship. And then from there, I think after you wait, you will build a bond with someone. I think you will meet someone along the way that you guys do have things in common. And I think that's when courtship comes into play, because you're having these conversations with your friend and and along that way, you guys both know that your intentions align. And that takes away from the carnal aspect of the relationship, because at that time, you're not prepared to have it. And hopefully that courtship turns into marriage. So I hope everyone got something out of the show. We're going to do a part 2 next week that will talk about relationships. So I hope everyone can join us. So Street Ill, thank you so much for being on our show. We appreciate you truly. And to our viewers, first I want to apologize that we couldn't get to all your questions. I guess we may have been a little long-winded, so our apologies for that. But we are looking forward to part 2 next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. And we welcome you to comment, like, and share. And I always want to make sure that we put this plug in, is that we are a part of the Moorish Civil America Incorporated, which is a lawful and chartered organization. And we have our meetings, our live stream meetings on Facebook, which are streamed every Friday at 7:30 and every Sunday at 2 o'clock, which is our Sunday school. And that is just a plug for Eastern time. That is just a plug for anyone that's interested in knowing about Prophet Noah Drew Ali, the Moorish Temple American Incorporated, and how Moorish Americans are striving for purity in life. So with that, we say we love y'all, and we say peace.
Peace.